How are you, ladies and gentlemen, especially students Form 5 and Form 6, literature teachers, college students, university students, tutorial and lecture. Listen the play analysis, An Enemy of the People, which is written by Henrik Ibsen in the year of 1882. And the setting of this play was located in Norway. An Enemy of the People. Original Norwegian title, En Forkifinde, is an 1882 play by Norwegian playwright Henrik Ibsen. Ibsen wrote it in response to the public outcry against his previous play, Ghosts, which challenged the hypocrisy of 19th century morality. According to the L. Mortensen, the word scandalous, degenerate, and immoral were hard at both Ghost and this author because this often discussed adults and the spirits thereof. An Enemy of the People tells the story of a man who dared to speak unpalatable truth and is punished for it. Henrik Ibsen is a Norwegian playwright. He was born in 1828 and died in 1905. The play deals with political and environmental issues. The action of the play passes during 4 consecutive days in the early spring of the year of 1881 up 1882 at a coastal town in southern part. The town in which the play was set built a huge building complex, which was very crucial for the development of the town. Dr. Stockman discovered that the bus drainage system is seriously contaminated. He decided to report the matter to Mr. Hofstad, Bling, and Aslaksen, who were the people working in the newspaper. Next morning, his brother Peter Stockman, who is the mayor of the town, hears that his young brother has discovered something in the bursting system. Mayor tells Doctor, ignore his discovery, as it is very expensive to repair the bell system. As if not enough, the mayor goes to the Hela to order the workers, Hostad, Bling, and Aslaksen, that they should not print Dr. Stockman's article. After that, Doctor decided to call the meeting to talk to his people about the funding. Once again, he finds some challenges in getting the building. Finally, Dr. Stockman succeeds to find a place where he can address the majority. Unfortunately, the third majority see his speech offensive to them. Next morning, they went to Doctor's house and vandalized it. Her daughter, Tessa, was fired from her job. Morten and Elf was chosen away from school. Captain, Hostad, and Doctor himself. Dear listeners, let us look the plot summary of this play, An Enemy of the People. This play has 5 acts. Act 1, at Dr. Stockman's sitting room, castling together with Mr. Bling, who is eating after being served a meal, later joined by Peter, then Mr. Hofstad. They begin speaking about the bath and how it has played a role in bringing development in the town, plus the Herald magazine. Dr. Stockman, Alice, with the boys later on along with Captain Hostad, Peter, and Dr. Stockman begin talking. Peter is curious to know why Thomas is so caught up with writing an article about the bar and warns him that if he gets too far, it might cost him. Then he leaves normal conversation to proceed. They decided to have a cup of tea. Later on, Peter gets back home with a letter for Dr. Thomas. He received it anxiously because he's been waiting for it for long. He insists for another room to read it. Catherine, on the other hand, explains how his letter must be of importance to him to the others. Dr. Stockman comes back later claiming he got good news as Rachel discovered about the bath. Being a pro sport, he examined how he got all this discovered. Catherine argues why he did not say L, but on the other hand, it was found out on the right time. After all of that, they had to wish Dr. Stockman good luck, knowing that he might first bring his news to public. That is Act 1. Let us look at Act 2. The same scene as in Act 1. Castle bring a letter to Dr. Stockman from Peter. It says that he will here to see him during midday. Morton Kill comes and asks me about what he heard about the bath. He was told by Peter on the way, and Dr. Stockman confirms that it is true. But the Morton Kill brings the idea that it might not please Peter, as in the discovery, Mr. Hofstad, also hearing about the news as they speaking about it. He comes up with the thought that he believes that is the pollution not the only cause for this issue, but rather much what he calls it. It involves them people in high position. He also tells Doctor that's how sure he is that he might get his way in this situation. The doctor believing that this common sense, it therefore should be solved. Another visitor, Mr. Slacks, also asking if the news about the discovery is true. After the doctor confirms it, he offers to give support, claiming that the middleman forming a solid majority. Behind him, he even speaking, having a demonstration regarding the fact that he is the chairman of the People Holders Association. He has influence to a great number of people. They also agreed that an article about this should be written. Peter reads later on when Hofstad and Morton have left. Petra is back. Peter and Thomas have private conversation in the dining room. Peter is angry regarding the investigation of the bar done behind his back. The suggestion made toward the issue that they might cause a lot. It will also lead decline economy in the town. The conversation was long and involved threats as well. This led to the saying Anna of the people, which was told Thomas by Peter Castle, is worried about her husband, who is now angry about what's going on. That is Act 2. Let us look at Act 3. At the editor's office, into the hell of Mr. Bling and Mr. Hofstad were having a chat on the possibility of anything happening toward the recent issue on the bars with regards to the manager. Later on, Dr. Stockman enters and still emphasizes on the printing of the article, which should be supervised by a laxen conversation among proving Dr. Stockman to be courageous, and the last assuring him that they will support him. Dr. Stockman lays later on that there's a matter, later on that the matter proceeded where Mr. Hofstad, Mr. Aslaksen seem to be walls that it seems to go too far. There might be world that if things go too far, there might be problems. The left claims that he is scared. Petra comes in later when wanting to return a storybook was given to her, translate it. She says she cannot. Mr. Hofstad does not know the content of whatever is in it simply because he cannot read English. Petra argues whatever is in there cannot be kept in here simply because it kept along things that don't really happen in reality. Mr. Hofstad now puts the blame on Prim that he was the one who brought the idea. The conversation became bitter when they end up talking about Petra's father and discover plus Mr. Hofstad says that Thomas cannot do it without him. Petra leaves by surprise. The manager comes to the Herald office. Without waiting to be seen, he uses the back door. His arm is to pursue Hofstad and the right not to print the article, but most not to support Dr. Stockman. He speaks the cost. The town will incur loans, a force for raising tax, and at the end forcing the other to challenge. Their mind saddened Dr. Stockman, forcing Peter to hide being off. With panic, Hofstad asks why he is back, and the doctor says that he is so concerned that he does not mind coming back twice. Kelly also works in wanting or claims that he supports her husband. He is here to tell him that he is being fooled. He disagrees, but without claiming that he supports her husband. She is here to tell him that he is being fooled. He disagrees within a minute. We find out that is true. Seeing Peter, Kev, and Steve, proving that he is here and was trying to talk them over. It was true right in after Dr. Stockman saw him and started to comfort him, but it does not good. After Hofstad and Brim together with Aslaksen refused to help again, Stockman and his wife leave the office with anger and determination to stand on the truth. He claimed to organize a mass meeting. That is Act 3. Act 4. A mass meeting was prepared in Captain Hofstad's house. People full classes enter, almost full, most men, few women, a small group of schoolboys, few citizens, starts questioning why they are here. Because of Dr. Stockman, who going to have a go at the mayor. His brother, why the householder association, now the seat club, did not give him a hall at the maximum. Captain Costa, a brave man who cares and supports Dr. Stockman and his family, Hofstad, Aslaksen, and Blaine are also present later on. Peter and Thomas also arrive. Doctor is led to start when Aslaksen suggests that they elect a chairman. The citizens also agree. First, they choose the mayor, but he chose Aslaksen, president of the Household Association. Peter is honored as the mayor to address it. Then Dr. Stockman begins, whereby his speech is first, with objection at last. All this is due to his discovery, but rather not the best. As what he claimed, he speaks of his love for his native town, what he has done, and much more. Being told not to talk about the past, Dr. said that the people are moral polluted. What Also, he talks of how majority is always wrong because it is full of faults, but love the majority is always right. With the host that declares that the doctor is devotional. He is wandering from the subject, page 81, which he agreed because he wants to stand on the truth, why the people do not want to listen to him. Also, Dr. Stockman claims that Mr. Hofstad is a hypocrite. Page 44. Because he turned the whole thing upside down as the presentation proceeds, Dr. Stockman is declared an enemy of the people because he would rather see the town perished than prospering on a lie. Page 86. And people agree. Mr. Bling and Mr. Aslaksen is agreed to the Dr. being an enemy of the people. The meeting ends with a noise, people shooting that the Dr. Stockman is an enemy of the people. Page 8. Dr. Stockman and his family together with Captain Hostad leave. That is Act 4. Let us look at 5. The last act in the play takes place in Dr. Stockman's consulting room. It is the morning after the lecture. Page 92. Window panes are blocking a few stones can be seen. But then remember that Claude promised to smash window, and they did. Dr. Stockman called them so as to be a reminder for Elf and Martin when they grow up. A letter reads, it is not from the landlord, then they have to move out. It is obvious that he is forced by others to do because he was such a nice man. Petra gets back home because she has been dismissed from where she was teaching by Mrs. Bark, who also received place. Later comes to her, saying smiling. Also in this act, it is also learned that Captain Hoster has been dismissed from his wife as a captain of a ship, only because land Dr. Stockman is held by his boss, Mr. Biggs. This also affects the fact that Dr. Stockman also gives him a lift as he was leave the project camp. Peter also comes hypocritical to sympathize with Dr. Stockman for what happened last night, and at the same time he gives the doctor a letter to dismiss that he will not be a doctor anymore. He will not be consulted, and afterwards Peter advised him to write a letter apologize, meaning that he made a mistake, but the doctor remained in fear. He simply takes carefully to scrub the floor to remove Peter's doubt. Another consequence is that Dr. Stockman is made to experience in the fact that modern kids decide to buy more shares of the startup he uses money that he wants to give in castle. This is on page 103 up to 104. It is to punish Dr. Stockman, who still says him and calls his father-in-law a devil. Dr. Stockman proves that he had to hypocrisy by chasing away Mr. Hofstad and Aslaksen, threatening to him. Then, an umbrella, they came to sympathize. Although his son came back, suspended from school, the doctor he will teach them himself. And because the doctor is determined to stay for him, he declares himself as the strongest man in the world. The strongest man in the world is who stands alone. That is Act 5. Dear listeners, I think you are listening to the plot summary of this play, An Enemy of the People. The one who gives this narration is teacher Kaligo Dotto Njige, the teacher of literature in English, and the young writer from Tanzania. Let us look character and the characterization of this play, An Enemy of the People. Number 1. Dr. Stockman. He is the father of Martin, Elf Petra, and the husband of Castle. He is a doctor. He is the blood of Peter Stockman. He is the trade person. He is determined. He is a confident person. He is a patriotic person. He is a rapid person. He is a short-tempered. He is a caring, persistent. He is a humble. He is a brave person. He is a nerve person. Number 2. Peter Stockman. He is a selfish leader. He is a self-centered leader. He is a coward person. He is a hypocrite person. He is a cunning person. He is a conniving person. He is a jealous person and leader. He is a greedy person and leader. Number 3. Mr. Hofstad. He is a hypocrite person. He is a negative person. He is a coward person. Number 4. Castle. He is kind when he deals with visitors. He is patriotic. He is a responsible man. He is hospitality. He is humble. Number 5. Petra. He is hardworking. He is patriotic. He is confident. He is loving. He is active for changes. Number 6. Mr. Aslaksen. He is chairman of Householders Association Sabeta. He is a hypocrite. He is coward. He is bedfellow to the Dr. Stockman. Number 7. Captain Foster. A captain travels. He is caring. He is generous. He is courageous person. He is patriotic person. He was person. Number 8. Martin Kill. His master Tanner. Dr. Stockman was determined to act upon his discovery, that is to ensure the elimination of the dust from the pollution. He believed in one's ability. Dr. Stockman knew he was right. He trusted his ability to stand and fight against any form of obstacle regarding his discovery. Dr. Stockman is a patriotic person. Love of one country, proves to love his own country, and was led to do anything regardless of the consequence for it, the way he fought his discovery, because he cared about the people's welfare and ended up being the enemy of the people. Dr. Stockman believed that good things would please him. After the doctor made his discovery, he believed the angel action would pattern upon the matter. Dr. Stockman is humble, does not think he's better or more important than others. Dr. Stockman was keenly visited at his home. But Peter Stockman, his selfishness, to think about yourself and not about other people. Peter Stockman was selfish in the sense that he did not care about others regarding the discovery. He did not want the innovation to take place. He did not want the innovation to take place because there would be a loss on his side. Peter Stockman pretended to have feelings that he don't have. Peter Stockman went back to the doctor after the meeting, claiming that he cared, but he actually did not. Peter Stockman pretended to care about the people by telling them the effect of the innovation which were false. He was hypocrite to Hofstad and Alaska, telling them false information. Hence they exchanged them mind to what happened, Dr. Stockman. Mr. Hofstad is a hypocrite person to pretend to have feeling that you don't have Mr. Hofstad pretended to side with the doctor after betraying him because of Peter. He and Alexan come back later to apologize, but doctors chasing them away. Catherine. She's kind, having intention to good. Catherine was kind because of the way she was dealing with visitors. She's responsible. Having a job or duty to do something, Catherine was a less of mark regarding the fact she cared much about her kids' future life, considering the situation they were getting into its effect. Petra was concerned with the system of the society. Are taught lies at school and at home are not taught to the truth. She is confident, feeling sure about her ability to do something. Mr. Alexan pretend to have feeling that you don't have Alexan pretend to care about Dr. Stockman and dared to come apologize, but he was chased away together with Hofstad. He betrayed serious breach of truth. Alexan not only betrayed the doctor, but also the citizens by feeding them a long information. Captain Hofstad, he cared about Dr. Stockman and his family, as he was generous through the whole social. That is a character and a characterization found in this play, An Enemy of the People, by Henrik Ibsen. Let us look then found in this play, An Enemy of the People. Number 1, betrayal. Peter Stockman betrayed his blood. Morten killed, betrayed Catherine and the kids. Hofstad and Alexan betrayed the doctor. Major betrayed the doctor. The bosses of Petra, Dr. Hofstad betrayed. Number 2, corruption. Misuse of power for personal gain. The mayor practices corruption towards the Hofstad and Alexan. The mayor towards the third majority. Number 3, patriotism. Love for one's country. Example, Dr. Stockman, Petra as Captain Hofstad. An example of patriotism person. Number 4, hypocrisy. Pretending to have feelings that you don't have. Mr. Hofstad and Alexan is a hypocrite to Catherine, doctor, and to the people. Peter Stockman is a hypocrite to Dr. Stockman, people, Hofstad, and Alexan. Number 5, conflict. A clash between two parties. Example, conflict between Dr. Stockman and Catherine against the discovery of star bath contamination. Another, conflict between Dr. Stockman and Peter Stockman after results the contamination of water in a spa bath. Another conflict between Dr. Stockman and Alexan and Hofstad after ignored to publish the newspaper against the condemnation of spa baths in town. Another conflict between Dr. Stockman and people. After people realize that Dr. Stockman is an enemy of the people. But in essence, Dr. Stockman is not an enemy of the people. It shows that the people are ignorant. Another conflict, Dr. Stockman and Hofstad. Another conflict, Stockman and Peter Stockman. Another conflict, Dr. Stockman and Morten Kell. Another conflict, Petra, what goes down in the entire society. Number 6, ignorance. lack of knowledge or information about something people of society. Example of ignorance in this play portrays the people or the system. They don't know what's going on. Number 7. Pollution. Introduction of unwanted materials to the environment. Pollution of water bowels. Pollution of the land. Society is polluted through receiving the wrong information of the material. Number 8. Protest. Reaction against unwanted situation. Dr. Stockman. Why discover? House publishing hold a meeting. People against the doctor. Why against his idea? House throw stones. Pets against the system society. Why they teach lies? How express his views, her views, and saying that he could open her own school. Number 9. Blazer. Act of dealing with something difficult or unpleasant in order to achieve something. Example, Doctor and Captain Hostel. Let us look style of this play. The play uses simple, less formal, and didactic language, possibly with the intention of making sure that reader understands. Originally, the play was written in Norwegian language, Nordic, which was later translated to an English version by Max Faber. Apart from simple language used, he has also made use of imagery. Let us look figures of speech or literary devices portrayed in this play, an enemy of the people. Number 1. Symbolism. A symbol refers to the use of specific concrete objects to stand for one or more abstract idea. For example, a wedding ring has come to symbolize the equality which marriage idea represents. Ring symbolizes the following. Ring symbolizes lifelong commitment. It is circular with no end. In the play, the following symbols are found. The bell. The bell symbolizes town leader and their followers. Their space are contaminated, freeze, and dead. Hence represent leaders like the mayor, who visited, are slackmen, and the people who clear them up. Water in the bell symbolize citizens of the town. The water was tested in the hall, but could not stand the test for truth, and therefore they are guilt. In fact, they are condemned by their leaders' guilt. Tunnel symbolize the greediness of the reader, which digs the fifth of distillation of all things. For example, corruption, greed, hypocrisy, and betrayal. Foreshadow. This is arrangement of the presentation of events and information in a fiction or drama in such a way that let events into the work prepare, introducing advance. Let us look the setting of this play. The setting of this play was located in Norway in the year of 1882. Henrik Ibsen portrayed different kinds in his plays. Number 1. The use of dialogue. Many characters in a play portrayed by playwright Henrik Ibsen. They are discussed the issue of stardust combination in the secret. Number 2. The use of point of view. In this play, playwright portrays the first person point of view. Example, the use of he, she, they. Let us look message found in this place and enemy of the people. Hypocrisy, the fact is not good in our society simply because led to the development of the country. Number two, corruption led to the underdevelopment and the conflict among leaders. Number three, ignorance of the people led to misunderstanding among people in the society. Number four, unity is very important in the society. Let us look the relevance of this place, an enemy of the people. The issue of corruption is still a problem in African countries. The issue of betrayal, hypocrisy, nepotism, still a problem in our society. Let us look the title of the play. The title of this play, An Enemy of the People, is a unique title simply because it refers to the Dr. Stockman who fights against the bad leadership and condemnation of Starbucks in a town. We would expect a person fighting for people's rights and truth to be called a friend of the people. To assert life, Dr. Stockman is labeled an enemy of the people. A statement of phrase that means the opposite of what is said is referred to as an ion. Therefore, this title is ionic, as qualified to be so. The title has been used in order to attract the attention of the readers. It is attract the attention of the readers. It is make him or her wonder who the enemy of the people. As a result, the reader may develop interest in reading the play in an attempt to find out who is the enemy of the people. In that way, the message intended by the way, right, reach the reader. Dear listener, the title of the play is said is a unique type. And try to show that we build an instance which shows someone an enemy of the people. Try to show the events found in that place which rejected by Dr. Stockman and led called or labeled as an enemy of the people. The issue of corruption led Dr. Stockman called to be an enemy of the people. The issue of betrayal, nepotism, revealed by Dr. Stockman at the end led to be called an enemy of the people. Let us look figures of speech found in this play. Number one, iron. Let's refer the wheels of words in such way that represent the opposite meaning of what is stated. Iron is the event in the title of the play. The title and name of the people is the iron title because it represented Dr. Stockman as an instead of being a friend of the people. Dr. Stockman is fighting for the people's rights. Numbers, similar, is an expression that compares two dissimilar things by means of words like or as. Example, in a play. They have appetite like young horses. Page 5. Another example. I know our love of it like the palm of my hand. Another figure of speech. Number 3. Idiom. Example from the play. To pay through the noise. Page 35. To pay through the noise. Another example of idiom. I thought she was pulling my leg. Page 23. I thought she was pulling my leg. Another figure of speech. Number 4. Hyperbole. Example. In a play. Page 63. When Catherine says, I know you have got more blades than the whole town put together, but your bell is full all the same. This is a hyperbole because no one can have a blade more than a whole town. Another figure of speech. Proverb. Example from a play. A man should never wear his best trousers when he goes out to find the truth and the freedom. Page 93. Another problem. The strongest man in the world is he who stands alone. Page 14. That is the figure of speech found in this play. Let us look at the law and the position of women in this society. At the end of the people, we see two women named Catherine and Petra. These have been portrayed as devotionalists. They actively take part in fighting for change. Catherine supported her husband in struggle. At first, Catherine was hesitant because she was thinking about children. She was thinking that children would suffer from the dismissal of Dr. Stockman. She decided to support the husband as she had tried to compare the love for her country with the love of the family. We may assume that she has decided to put the love for the country first. Therefore, she is a patriotic. Petra is not different from the mother. She has sought being on the side of her father. She is presented as love of truth. For instance, she is surprised to see Mr. Bling and Mr. Hobson turning against Dr. Stockman. She often tells them that they are nothing but hypocrite. A woman of this kind is unable patriotic. It is because fighting was true. That is the role and position of women portrayed in this play. Dear listener, a special student, Form 5 and Form 6, literature teacher, college student, university student, tutorial and lecture. That is the end of play analysis of an enemy of the people by Henrik Ibsen. My name is teacher Kaligo Dotto Njige, or teacher Kadon, the mind of literature and the young African writer from Tanzania. That is the end of the story or book summary. Don't forget, subscribe, like and share comments below this video. Thank you for listening. Thank you for listening.